beautiful friends. I am here today once more for a very great video that I believe will hopefully be helpful to any of you mommies who are either pregnant or already had a baby, or just if you're curious in overall like about natural childbirth. As some of you already know, if you're already following me on my channel, you know that I have two amazing sons, and both of my pregnancies went incredible because I did have all natural childbirth. I say all natural because I did not have any type of medication, so no epidural and no painkillers. So it gets as natural as it can get, although I did give birth in hospitals. So this is my tips and tricks that I have for natural childbirth. These are just overall from my experience because I did have two babies and two all-natural births, and they were two completely different experiences. And the only reason why they were so different was because obviously for my first baby, I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea what was in store for me. I had no idea even how to breathe or anything. So I'm gonna get really fast into all these tips, and at the end of the tips I will be talking a little bit more chit chat here and there about my experience. So if you're only interested in the tips, then I'm just gonna jump right ahead. So for my tip number one, I would say if you really are looking into having a natural birth, please make sure that you are 100% sure that that is what you want, because that way it's going to be so much easier for you to just set that goal just from the very beginning and push through. So in case anybody tries to scare you or talk you out of it, it's easier for you to follow through with you knowing and having that want to give a natural birth. Because if you're unsure from the very beginning, it's easy for you to like change your mind at the very end of your pregnancy. Either you got scared, or somebody talked you out of it, or during labor you just give in and get the epidural. So please stay focused on your goal and know that you can do this, okay? Our bodies were meant to do this. For tip number two, I say breathe correctly. So breathing is so important. I did not know what the heck they meant by breathe. They would say breathe. I'm like, I am breathing, but it's the way you're breathing. So when I was having a contraction, I would start breathing really heavy and fast, and that's horrible because you're just sending so much oxygen to your brain and you can actually pass out. So they would tell me like breathe, and because the contractions were so intense, I would just breathe really fast, like breathing like that. But you're not supposed to breathe like that. You're supposed to breathe very deep and slow. So tip number three, voicing your fear. And what I mean about voicing your fear is if you're feeling scared about birth, natural birth of course, if you're unsure, if you're thinking about it but there's things you hear that are triggering, like words that trigger you not to want to have a natural birth, so you're kind of undecisive and you're scared, please voice those fears. So tell someone, tell your partner, tell someone you love and trust and that can be there to help you and support you. So by saying them out loud, you get them out of the way, because if you're scared and you're holding it in, then you're gonna have that fear throughout your whole pregnancy and even up to the day you give birth. So by voicing them, hopefully you can overcome it and see that it's not as bad as people make it out to seem. So with that goes hand in hand with tip number four, is having an amazing support system. So having people around you that support your birth plan, that can encourage you, give you positive thoughts, positive vibes, keep encouraging you and telling you of course you can do this. Our bodies were meant to do this, so of course you can do it. Please know that you can. I mean, unless of course there's something medically wrong, then I'm all up for getting the epidural, getting C-section. So having people around you who support your birth plan and encourage you, and positive vibes. So surround yourself with positive people, of course, and people who respect your decision of having a natural birth. So tip number 5 is relaxing through each contraction. This is kind of like, really, how can I relax during such an intense, horrible pain moment? But believe me, it is possible. The reason I am saying to relax during the contraction is that when you're having a contraction, your body automatically wants to tense up, and you put so much tension on other parts of your body that you shouldn't be putting pressure on your face, on your hands, on your feet, on your legs. Like, you just tense up and you're just like, oh, you know, through the contraction. So just try to relax, try to go with the contraction. Even though it is extremely painful, it is doable. Believe me, it is. So it's like, you need to relax as much as you can. I mean, you're not gonna die, and you're still gonna go through that pain of the contraction. So instead of tensing up and fighting against it, you just go with it, because eventually it is gonna pass. It's just for a few seconds of that intense, horrible pain, but it will go away. So tip number 6, okay, so it's resting during each contraction when it's over, so you get that little bit of space in between contractions. So instead of like going through a horrible contraction and then tensing up and being like, oh my god, here comes another one, I know it's gonna come, I know it's gonna come, instead of wasting those couple seconds on preparing and tensing up for the next one, it's more like, breathe it in. So just relax and go with it, and just think of it like just one step closer to having your baby, instead of saying, I'm still thinking of the last contraction I just had and now I'm gonna prepare myself for the next one. It's more like, forget the ones that already passed. The ones that already passed are gone. They're never coming back. And yes, one is coming up, but it's more like, okay, let me take this time to breathe, relax my body, and yes, prepare for the next one, but don't wait for it like all tense. Like, just relax and be like, okay, this is my little break I get from the contractions. Don't waste those couple seconds you get during the end of each contraction. Just relax. Okay, so during active labor, when there's this spot in the laboring that is called the transitioning stage, that's when it hits you really hard and you even start getting super duper hot. This is when the contractions are literally back to back and you just get extremely hot. So please have your spouse or whoever is in the room with you, or if no one's in the room with you, you can always ask a nurse there to assist. Ask for a wet, cold rag, so something cold on your forehead or somebody fanning you down. Believe me, it is the best feeling when your whole face and body is on fire and you're like sweating and it gets super hot. When they put that on you, it's like, for a couple seconds, it just feels amazing. So anything that makes you feel better during contraction, everything, even to the smallest little thing, is greatly appreciated. So for my next tip, it goes kind of hand in hand with what I said about little things make a big difference. Try to have a special playlist for you, so when you're giving birth, having music in the background, anything that is calming and relaxing for you. For me, I had something playing like Zen music. I had, you know, like something like spa music, something relaxing. Some like to have like worship music in the background, something very relaxing and calming to you. Or you can even have something encouraging and empowering playing in the background. Of course, in some point in your labor, the music even fades away, like you don't even notice it anymore. But during the time that you can actually hear it, it's so relaxing, because sometimes you can even like get your mind off of the pain and just focus on the music for just a couple seconds. So that's a very good tip for me, because for my first birth I did not have music in the background, but for my second one I did, and it really made a big difference for me. Okay, so this next tip is for pre-pushing please, 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 this is like right before you're gonna have your baby, don't use your strength and energy and your tension on any part of your body besides abdomen. Like, keep all your strength and tension there, because you are gonna need it so you can push out your precious little baby. So just focus on not tensing up your body. Those were my little bit of tips and tricks that I learned along the way after having 2 natural births. These tips really did make a difference in my laboring. So I hope if you are thinking of having a natural birth, you can try any of those tips. Okay, so here's my little rant that I did mention on my first birth story of my first son, about how the nurses were so rude and so pushy on the epidural. So, like I said, for my first son, I was not breathing correctly because I didn't know how to breathe. Like, I was just going with whatever my body was telling me to do, and that was throughout each contraction I would start breathing rapidly. So I don't know if the nurses were getting annoyed of like that, or I really don't know, because let me just say I have very high pain tolerance. So I was not screaming, I was not crying, I was not making a scene. So for them to keep pushing the epidural on me was so annoying, to the point that literally I had to speak up because it was getting so bad. Of them, every single time they would check up on me, they would ask if I wanted something for the pain to not go through with it. Like, they were just telling me that that's why there's medicine out there, so we wouldn't have to go through this pain. Even though I had already explained to them that I wanted an all-natural birth, I felt capable of having an all-natural birth. So for them to keep doing that, it was getting very like annoying. They were not encouraging me at all. So I was feeling kind of like, should I give in and get an epidural so they can just shut up and leave me alone, and like so I can enjoy my birth? Because they were like ruining everything. They were just making it so hard for me to even concentrate on what was really happening with my body. Like, I was just getting confused because they were so pushy, and my husband had to tell them to please stop. He had to be very upfront with them and ask them to please stop asking, that obviously I was not gonna get an epidural, so they needed to just stop. So eventually they did, and after I had the baby, they were very surprised and like telling me that they can't believe that I went through with it, and that was just so incredible of me, and blah blah blah. And I was just like, oh, these is so annoying. But for my second son, which I will get into his birth story on the following videos coming up, and with my second son, I had a much better experience, and I will get into detail with that on his birth story. So birth is very beautiful and special and amazing and incredible, and it's the best thing I think by far that us women can do, is bring life into this world. So what better way than to feel everything that was meant for us to feel, even though it is extremely painful. I know that if I went through with it twice, anybody can do it, because our bodies were meant to do this. So once again, if you are thinking of having a natural birth, I am here to encourage you and tell you you can do it, and that you should do it. Like, why not? Our bodies were meant to do this, so why not? Don't let no one tell you no when that's what you want to do. So I'm wishing everybody a very happy birth. If you're watching this video because you are gonna give birth, I wish you the very best of luck, and just stay focused on your goal. Just think about it like this: it's such a short amount of time of pain for this incredible lifetime full of joy and amazingness. Okay, so apparently somebody wants to be in mommy's video. He has just been cooing and talking in the background. So yeah, he's making a little appearance. Say hello, everybody. So remember, it is such a short amount of time of pain for this amazing, incredible lifetime of happiness and wonderful, amazing moments. So thank you once again so much for watching my video. I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you on our next video. Bye guys.